Welcome back to Broken Electronics. I'm Lee, and I'm so happy you could spend some time here today for this video. Now, the video I was going to do today involves my PowerMac G4 digital audio. I almost didn't buy this machine because it was rather expensive for an older PowerMac, and it had already been very heavily upgraded. I usually like to do the upgrades myself, but I didn't have a digital audio in my collection. They don't really come up that often, so I grabbed it. And I'm glad I did, because it's given me all kinds of ideas about what I can do in other videos, in upgrading other, particularly the whole series on the world's most powerful sawtooth. A lot of that generated from this machine. I was going to do a video on it today, but I got sidetracked into something else. This machine has a 1 terabyte SSD and 2 mechanical hard drives. The 2 mechanical hard drives are in a RAID configuration. I believe it's just a concatenated RAID. It's a little weird because he's got one of those drives connected via the SATA PCI card, and the other connected via ATA, also to that same PCI card, which is a combination SATA ATA 100 card, or maybe it's ATA 250. Well, regardless, so it works. What the heck? And I don't really use those drives anyway. They're sort of additional storage. I had put in a 1 terabyte SSD on the SATA connection, since he sent it with the cords there. He'd taken out his boot drive at that point before he sent it to me. And so I partitioned that drive. I installed Leopard, which works very well. I installed Tiger, which works very well. I installed OS 9, and I installed a rather large data partition. The problem is OS 9. I had not realized, I hadn't really dealt with a SATA PCI card at that point. OS 9 knows nothing about SATA. So it shows up there when I boot it into Leopard or Tiger. You can see it, you can see all the files, but you can't boot into it. So I have to fix that, because you got to be able to boot into OS 9. You really do. So I have here a MacStore 20 gigabyte SSD. That should be plenty for OS 9. Yeah, 20 gigabytes. I mean, the OS 9 would come installed on 4 gigabyte drives, 6 gigabyte drives, and function pretty well. So I'm going to put this in there, clone the OS 9 partition onto this drive, and then, just for kicks, in place of the OS 9 partition that's there, I think I'm going to install Panther, because I haven't done that in a while. Alright, so I think this should be interesting. So if you want to take a look at this entire process, please stay tuned. Alright, here's your side view of the digital audio. We shall open it up. And you can see here that the SSD that contains the 3 operating systems, including the OS 9 that doesn't work, is right here. Underneath it is the 500 gigabyte hard drive that's part of that RAID array that is connected via one of the SATA connections in the card, which is right here. This is the 250 gigabyte part of the RAID array. So I'll take that out. Take that out. There's only one screw that secures the hard drive carriage into place. I've taken that out. Now, what I'm going to do, there are 4 screws holding this into place. One here, and 2 on the other side. So I am going to unscrew those screws and then move this drive into the lower bay. We can then secure the upper drive, with additional screws that I have, into the upper part of the carriage. All right. You don't need to watch me screw in screws and unscrew screws and all of that, so please stay tuned. All right, screws are in place. We are ready to insert the drives. We'll be official and screw this into place. This one. Yeah, put my headlamp back on so I can see. I bought this headlamp after a power outage. Oh. It isn't going to fit. Okay, I see now why he arranged it so that the drive was in the top position. He used the original IDE cable that came with the Power Mac. It is intended to connect the logic board right here, and it's just long enough to connect 2 drives. But he's connected it here, and then obviously that's why he connected that there. And in the process of messing around here, I've disconnected my boot drive, but I'll fix that later. Well, the obvious answer is a longer IDE cable. I've got one, but I seem to remember that it came out of a Power Mac without a drive, and there was a problem with it. It didn't work, but let's give it a try and find out. Stay tuned. Well, okay. I do have the longer IDE cable connecting the 2 drives. I've got a Molex splitter here. I want to make sure that's properly connected. There we go. Plug back in the boot drive. I don't know if this is going to work, but I do know there's only one way to find out. Stay tuned. Well, this is unexpected. That's operation prohibited. I was expecting you would just boot into Leopard and probably not show the IDE connected drives. Oh, wait. Okay, I have a theory. I'm going to try something. We will see if it works. Stay tuned. Okay, well, that didn't work. However, while I was working with things, I found another longer IDE cable. We'll see if that works. Here's what I was trying. I was left with one part, one slice of a RAID array still connected. So I disconnected, the other drive. That did no good. Okay, well, we'll see if the other cable works. Stay tuned. Okay, well, we're getting closer. All that's being read right now is the SSD, even though everything else is plugged in. And I got the disk unreadable to initialize warning. Okay, so I'm going to have to explore this a little bit. Please stay tuned. Okay, here's what's going on. it's showing under ATA and System Profiler the 500 gigabyte Hitachi drive, and it's showing the SSD, and then it's got this Mac Store with an unbelievable amount of space. All right, I may have an idea. I've got to reconfigure things a little bit and plug those two drives in differently. Stay tuned again. So, here's the theory. When I checked it, it was showing, Disk Utility was showing one part of the RAID array, the 500 gig part. It wouldn't mount it, of course, because that was all that was there. It then showed a Maxtor drive with something like 4,000 terabytes of capacity. Obviously, that's crazy. Now, both hard drives on the IDE cable are Maxtors. The way that cable connects is backwards from the way that the provided cable connects. So what I did was to take the hard drive carriage out and switch the position of the two drives. We shall now see if this works. Stay tuned. Well, that didn't fix anything, but let's take a look in Disk Utility, because this is kind of funny. All right, there's the 500 gigabyte RAID slice. Here's the SSD with its partitions. And then it's saying a Maxtor drive with 31.7 petabytes. Oh, lordy. Okay. I'm thinking right now, since that longer cable, while it sort of works, isn't really working, the thing to do may be to put it back the way it was, break the RAID array, then replace the 20 gig hard drive, because it's just crazy to put a 250 put an installation of OS 9 on a 250 gigabyte drive, and then I'll have that 250 drive for some other purpose. Okay, stay tuned. Okay, this has worked. Storage HD, which is the RAID array, is now back. So, utilities, Disk Utility. Okay. And we, I don't think I need to keep these things. But just in case. Okay. Actually, we can move them to data drive and the SSD. That's going to remain untouched. Okay. So anyway, here we go. We're just going to delete this RAID array. Okay, so can we just mount this? We'll format it. Okay. And there it is. Okay. So what we're going to do now is take out the 250 gig drive that is currently storage HD and replace it with, actually I've got a 40 gig drive. I may throw that in there. Just why not give it a little bit more room? What the heck, I have it. Okay, stay tuned. Okay, both those hard drives are out. I have now put in an IBM Desk Star with 40 gigabytes. That should be plenty. Let's hope this boots up. Stay tuned. Okay, it's entirely possible that that 40 gigabyte IBM Desk Star is simply dead because it wouldn't show up. I messed with the jumpers, I did all kinds of things. So I went back to the 20 gigabyte Mac Store and it mounted right up. We're looking about this Mac. More info under ATA. And there we see the Hitachi drive, the SSD, and the Mac Store drive. Okay, 20 gigabytes should be plenty. Let's go into disk utility. And erase the disk. We'll call it OS 9 HDD. And erase. And there it is. Okay. Now, let's go into Applications. And good old Carbon Copy Cloner. Select the source, which is Mac OS 9 SSD. And destination, OS 9 HDD, and clone, continue, authenticate. Okay, this is not going to take long, but I will make you sit through it. Stay tuned. Yep, 4 minutes, slightly more. All right, we need to verify now that we can boot into OS 9. So we can start up disk, OS 9 HDD, and restart. Okay, we'll bring you back when we're at the desktop. Stay tuned. Well, okay, this hasn't worked. It's not booting up any more than the version on the SSD did. Okay, stay tuned. Well, it appears that this machine just won't boot into OS 9. I tried to restart it into OS 9 and I got this kind of screen. It then wouldn't boot back into Leopard. I had to put my FireWire drive of installations in. Then I could boot back into Leopard. This is my attempt to boot into OS 9 on the FireWire drive. I really don't know what would be stopping this machine. Digital audios ought to be able to boot into OS 9. Well, I may just have to declare defeat. Stay tuned. All right. I am really intrigued by this. I'm thinking of various ways to see what I can do about all of this. But I think at this point, this video is way too long. At least the machine is still working. I'm no worse off than I was. But I'm going to think on this. And I guess that's going to be another video, isn't it? Now, if anybody out there has any thoughts as to why I can't get OS 9 to boot on this machine, that would be good to know. But nonetheless, be good to other people. Other people need it and deserve it. You need it and deserve it, so be good to yourselves. This is not a better world yet, though we're trying so. Please take very, very good and careful care in these difficult times. Obviously, there's going to be another video on this machine, probably another couple on this machine. I still got a G5 thing or two to come up. So until those things do, this has been Broken Electronics.